Negative field is like the opposite of bouncing the light. When bounce the light off an object or piece of material, you're creating light from that so it's not too harsh and it shines on your face or objects. So negative field is when you want to create contrast, or if there's areas on the face or objects that's too bright. So you use a negative field, pull it in between the light and your object or the character to block the light. And I say this is an advanced technique because that's not something I've always used. And even till now, I hardly ever use it, but you should really use it as much as you can to control where the light hitting the object or the character, because that's how you create the contrast. When the light they're seeing, like right now, the light is coming from above, everything's being lit. But say, for example, I want half of my face lit from above, the other half not. So you put like a negative field just above my head. That's just a very basic example. So people normally light it and without thinking, oh, how can I create a little bit more character, a little bit more shadow? And maybe the half of the face should be in dark because this person is telling something not quite right, or this person is revealing some information, or the whole scene is dark and eerie, or maybe this person is hiding or in the shadows lurking. You know, there's so many different reasons. And negative field with a light working together is like a marriage, you know? So let me give you some examples that I've used in this shot. Now, I have purposely put the camera on the same side where the light is coming from, which you should never do. You should always put the opposite side. But this is a negative field you can see here I've placed right at the window to show you that if the camera was placed here, how you can fix it and create the contrast on the character's face. Here is a shot without the negative field. The daylight is hitting her face. Now, if I move that negative field flag to cover that part of her face, you'll see it generates that darker shadow across. It's a little bit better, but it looks still flat to me because the light is coming from the same side of the camera. So we're going to move the camera to the opposite side and then use that negative field to generate and amplify the contrast on the other side. And the reason for me to use a negative field on the other side is because the entire room is white walls. And with that white wall, it's reflecting the light everywhere. And we're using a negative field to block those reflections. And we end up with this better looking shot with more contrast. Next, I've placed this strong light next to the window to amplify this daylight, sunlight shine on her face. And then I want you to watch how I use this negative field to block part of that light. Because that light, again, is going everywhere. And I don't want that light to hit the wall behind her, for example. So when I place the negative field here, you can see that all the light that's spilling on behind her on the wall has gone. As you can see, it's pretty easy how to use it. It's about why you use it and where to use it you need to think about. So there isn't really any more to talk about negative field other than practice with piece of fabric that's pitch black. You can either buy a proper negative field or use something that's really heavy and dense so that, you know, it blocks light. You don't want something that light can escape through. So, and you don't want something white because the light just bounces back again. So a black material or a real negative field and place it close to the object where the light is hitting, but you don't want that area to hit, and see how that feels. This is about testing it and play with it and experiment it. So yeah, have a go and practice. And once you've done that, you have kind of finished the technical side of cinematography about lighting, about movement, about shadows, about why the character should be framed this way and that way. Well done. So after this bit, it's more about the theory, about how you plan the shots, etc. But before we move on, I want to make sure you really nail down everything you know about this course so far. So again, I'm going to give you some assignments to make sure and see if you have learned everything. And once you're comfortable and, you know, just take your time. You don't have to rush through this course. Take 2 weeks practicing all those skills I've taught you before you move on to next, because it's really important you have those mastered before you move on to the planning and look at the case study, etc. So good luck with that. Do the assignment and I'll see you back here on the next chapter.